Welcome back, movie lovers. Today we're shining the spotlight on the powerful and dynamic women of martial arts cinema. We all know nothing looks better on screen than a badass female lead. These incredible Asian female-led films have redefined the genre throughout the years, showcasing the strength, resilience and complexity of their female leads. So get ready to meet some fierce fighters who take center stage in their own stories, proving that women can be just as formidable as their male counterparts. From legendary classics to modern masterpieces, we've compiled a list of 20 must-watch films that celebrate female empowerment and martial arts prowess. Grab the popcorn and buckle up, because it's time to dive into a world where women kick ass, break boundaries and inspire audiences around the globe. Let's get going. Now, just before we go into our video though, we do have a small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. It's a small click for you, but for us it means an awful lot. Thank you very much. Now let's begin. Come Drink With Me, 1966. Golden Swallow is the female lead. Golden Swallow is the daughter of the governor sent to rescue her brother, Zhang Baichu, who has been kidnapped by a bandit, Jade-Faced Tiger, in exchange for the release of his imprisoned master. Golden Swallow is initially disguised as a man. She's adept in martial arts and sword fighting. A local beggar called the Drunken Cat rescues the Golden Swallow as stealthily as a ninja when she's ambushed. When she goes to thank him the next day, he pretends to be an ignorant drunkard, but he manages to secretly encode a message in a song, revealing the whereabouts of the bandits. The gang has occupied a local Buddhist monastery with the support of Liao Kung, the corrupt abbot. After a confrontation with the Jade-Faced Tiger, Golden Swallow is injured and rescued by Drunken Cat in the woods and nursed back to health. There, as she recovers, she learns that Drunken Cat is Fan Da Pai, leader of the Green Wand Kung Fu School and also a Shaolin master. It turns out Liao Kung, Fan's blood brother, was hungry for power and killed to be the heir of the school. Liao was spared. Afterward, Golden Swallow led her female warriors and fights off the gang. Eventually, even after initially being spared, Liao is killed by Fan with their master's bamboo staff. Raging Phoenix, 2009. Okay, I have to address the elephant in the room first. As we proceed with this story, you're going to hear the names of some drunken martial artists. The only thing I would say is try not to get too distracted by their names and start laughing, like I did, because you'll forget to pay attention to the storyline. So, the story goes like this. Our female lead, Dio, is saved from being kidnapped by 3 drunken martial artists, and she asks them to train her. Their names, and I swear I'm not joking around here, are Dogshit, Pigshit and Sanim. Yeah, I know that one is surprisingly normal, but there's a hidden meaning that the team is called bullshit. Anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So Dio learns that the 3 masters have banded together to defeat the Jaguar gang, who tend to abduct special young women. And by special, I don't mean autistic. Anyway, she falls for Sanim but learns that he's in love with his fiancée Pai, who was abducted during their wedding 3 years ago. Well, notice how the only one getting married was, so far, the only one with a normal name. I think that explains a lot. Dio rescues more women who'd been kidnapped using her newfound skills, but she also learns the secret to her skills isn't just being drunk, but it has to have emotional pain behind it. She learns that the Jaguar gang only kidnap women with a certain smell that Dio possessed too. Dogshit is a sniffer and he can find that smell. So they do the most logical thing possible, and yes, this film is satire, and send Dio to get kidnapped by the gang as a decoy. The plan, however, works a little bit too well, and Dio is now kidnapped, but the team is unable to find the gang's hideout. Well, bravo, drunken masters. Anyway, Dio finds out that the specific women that the Jaguar gang abduct are there because their tears have a chemical that improves health. Dio is drugged and tries to escape, but she's captured after she manages to break a few tear-filled vials. This allows Kima, Dogshit, to be able to smell her and the hideout. Sanim tries to rescue Dio, but instead he finds Pai. They are found by the gang leader, London. They attempt to escape, but they end up dangling over a bridge where they had been fighting, while Dio tries to hold on to both Sanim and Pai, while London is temporarily defeated. Sanim sacrifices himself to save Pai and he lets go. London recovers and captures Diu and drugs Pai, taking them to where the rest of the team has been beaten by the gang members. As they're knocked out, Diu uses the pain of Sanam's passing to defeat London and the other 2 gang members. Lady Snowblood. Yuki was born in prison, and due to complications during birth, her mother died shortly thereafter. Her mother had confided in other inmates, telling them that she was brutally raped by 3 of the 4 criminal men who had murdered her husband and son a year ago. She was sentenced to life imprisonment when she stabbed one of the men to death. Her last wish was for her child to be raised to avenge her tormentors, the remaining 3 men. Yuki undergoes brutal training in sword fighting and becomes an assassin. She kills the first man, named Takemura Banjo, whose daughter Kabui was a prostitute, to help him out with his debts. She then learns that the other man, Tsukamoto Gishiro, died in a shipwreck 3 years earlier. A reporter, Yurei Ashio, was persuaded by someone Yuki helped to publish a story to draw out another man that had raped Yuki's mother, Kitahama Okono. Yuki enters his estate, kills several of his men, and finds Okono's dying body hanging in a room. She kills him anyway. Then Ashio reveals that Tsukamoto Gishiro is his father and faked his own death when he found out that Yuki was trying to find him. She finds Gishiro at a masquerade and kills his decoy. Ashio is shot by Gishiro. Yuki stabs Gishiro through Ashio and slits Gishiro's throat just as he shoots her. He falls over a railing and he dies. Yuki, wounded, is stabbed by Kabui, who had been pursuing Yuki ever since she'd killed her father. Yuki collapses into the snow, presumably dead, but she opens her eyes the following morning. This film follows the story of Inspector Nang in Hong Kong, who is trying to recover a microfilm that was in the possession of Richard Norris when he died. Some lowlife thieves had the microfilm. Inspector Nang is paired with investigator Carrie Morris so that they can recover the film and expose the criminal activities of a businessman named Mr. Tin. Mr. Tin is actively trying to get his hands on the film so he can destroy any evidence. The 2 thieves, Aspirin and Strepsil, return the passport they found to Pandal, who sells it. Nang is able to track Pandal, who eventually mentions the name of his accomplices, Strepsil and Aspirin. Mr. Tin sends his thugs to find the 2 thieves, but they find Pandal instead and they beat him to death. After Strepsil finds that Mr. Tin has the microfilm, Strepsil and Aspirin go to Mr. Tin's house, followed closely by Nang and Morris. During a battle, the microfilm is destroyed, and Strepsil, who had just learned of Pandal's death, is enraged and uses one of the police officer's guns to shoot Tin, who would have gotten away with everything because the evidence had all just been destroyed. No. Angel. This film is basically inspired by Charlie's Angels. It's a Hong Kong action film. The story begins with drug lords killing all of the officers of Interpol after a drug raid involved destroying a massive Thai opium fields. In response, a mercenary angel organization is involved. Their agents are Seijo, Moon and Elaine, and their first task is to seize a huge drug shipment. This brings Madame Young into the picture, who has just risen to power after killing her predecessor. Seijo finds himself buried alive in an armoured car after a series of fights with Madame Young, while Moon and Elaine fight her kung fu style. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. In Qing Dynasty China, Li Mubai, a Wudang swordsman, asks his friend and fellow warrior Yu Shulian to deliver his legendary sword, Green Destiny, to their benefactor, Sir Te, as Mubai plans to retire. Both Mubai and Shulian have long hidden their feelings for each other out of loyalty to Shulian's deceased fiancée. Meanwhile, a masked thief steals the Green Destiny, and Shulian discovers that the thief is Jen, daughter of Governor Yu, trained secretly by her governess Jade Fox. Mubai arrives to recover the sword, but becomes intrigued by Jen's skill. Jade Fox reveals her past grievance with Mubai's teacher before being killed in a battle where Mubai is poisoned. Jen, torn between her arranged marriage and her love for Bandit Lo, fights both Shulian and Mubai, refusing to accept guidance. As Mubai lies dying, he confesses his love to Shulian. Jen, guilt-ridden, returns the sword and reunites with Lo. In the end, she jumps from a mountain, fulfilling a legend Lo had once told her about, but leaving her fate unclear. Green snake, green snake, green snake. This film explores Buddhist themes of samsara or reincarnation and the quest for enlightenment. Phat Hoi, a Buddhist monk, is dedicated to eradicating demons, dismissing the notion that non-human beings can spiritually evolve. He captures a spider demon striving for reincarnation, only to later doubt his actions. Phat Hoi's journey leads him to two snake spirits, White Snake and Green Snake, who have trained for centuries to become human. White Snake falls in love with the human scholar, Su Shen, seeking to live a human life, while Green Snake indulges in sensuality, jealous of her sister's bond, Su Shen. After a storm ravages their village, the snakes assist the villagers, but tensions rise between the sisters. White Snake's secret as a snake is revealed, leading to Su Shen's death. White Snake revives him with magical herbs, but Green Snake's envy deepens. The monk, Phat Hoi, captures Su Shen, pushing the sisters to challenge his authority. A flood ensues, and in the chaos, White Snake dies during childbirth, and Green Snake kills Su Shen so they can be together in the afterlife. In the end, Green Snake questions whether humans truly understand love, leaving Phat Hoi alone with the baby. Chocolate. Zen, a Thai woman, is caught in a love triangle between two gangsters. Number 8, a Thai gangster, and Masashi, a Japanese Yakuza boss. Once Zen chooses Masashi, Number 8, in a fit of jealousy, shoots his own toe as a warning and forbids Zen from seeing Masashi again. Fearing for their safety, Zen urges Masashi to return to Japan, and he reluctantly agrees. Soon after, Zen discovers she's pregnant and moves away to avoid Number 8's wrath. She gives birth to Zen, who is diagnosed with autism. Years later, Zen writes a letter to inform Masashi about their daughter, but Number 8 finds out and retaliates by cutting off one of Zen's toes. Zen moves again, this time near a Muay Thai school. Zen, fascinated by martial arts, starts imitating the students, and films like Bruce Lee's displaying remarkable reflexes. Zen takes in a boy named Moom after seeing him being bullied. Zen then falls ill with cancer, and Zen and Moom try to raise money for her treatments by performing street act. When this proves insufficient, they turn to collect debts from Zen's post as a moneylender. This leads to violent encounters with local gangs, and eventually, Number 8, Masashi, summoned by a letter, returns to help. In a final confrontation, Zen is fatally wounded by Number 8. Zen, driven by grief, defeats him, but she returns to find her mother dead. Masashi, heartbroken, adopts Zen, his long-lost daughter. Shadowless Sword. The film is set right after the fall of Songyung, which was the capital of Balhae. The Dongdang Kingdom dispatches a killer blade army called Chuksladon. to find and kill the last member of the Balhae royal family, Prince Jong-hyun. He had been exiled, and this was done to prevent the Balhae from ever getting reconstructed again. Prime Minister Lin Sun-ji, in an attempt to avoid all this, sends a young and talented swordswoman, Yeon So-ha, to find the prince and bring him back to safety. However, Jung-hyun wants to return to fight for his throne, as he's still bitter about his exile, which he felt was unjust. The rest of the film captures the journey of So-ha and Jung-hyun as they battle their way back to the capital. They fall in love because, well, what's a movie without two young main characters falling in love? But you need to watch the whole thing to find out if they're able to reconstruct the fallen kingdom of Balhae. A Touch of Zen. In an isolated mountain village in Ming, China, a clumsy and unambitious scholar named Gu Shengcai lives a quiet life. This changes when a stranger, Ouyang Nian, arrives intending to have Gu paint his portrait. Ouyang's true purpose is to capture a fugitive, Yang Huizhen, for execution by the East Chamber guards. Yang befriends Gu and they plot against the corrupt eunuch Wei, who seeks to annihilate her family after her father warns the emperor about him. To protect them, the saintly Cham Buddhist abbot Hui Yuan intervenes, teaching them about self-defense at his monastery for 2 years. Yang and her friends, including Ouyang, are skilled warriors. After becoming intimate with Yang, Gu gains confidence and proposes a sinister ghost trap to outsmart the guards. Ouyang is killed in a bamboo forest, and Gu uses his seal to lure the guards into the trap. Afterwards, Gu discovers Yang has left him, warning him not to follow. He tracks her to the monastery, only to find she has become a nun and has given birth to their child. Soon, Gu and the child are hunted by Su Xianchen, a ruthless commander. Just as things look dire, Yang and General Shi arrive to help, joined by Abbot Hui and his monks. Su dies, but Yang, Shi and the abbot are seriously wounded. The film ends with Yang stumbling towards a meditative figure resembling Abbot Hui, evoking the image of the Buddhist and enlightenment. The Assassin. The Assassin is set during the Cheng Yuan reign, 785 to 805, of the Tang dynasty, a few years after the An Lushan rebellion. The film takes place in Weibo, a province that is technically part of the Tang Empire but is effectively ruled independently by its military governor Tian Jian. The story follows Nie Yin-Yang, a highly skilled assassin trained by Jiexin, a nun who raised her from the age of 10. Yin-Yang's mission is to eliminate corrupt officials. However, when she hesitates to kill her during her assignments, Jiexin gives her a harsh test. She must travel to the northern province of Weibo to assassinate its military governor, Tian Jian, who also happens to be her cousin and former betrothed. When Yin-Yang arrives in Weibo, Princess Jiecheng explains that the betrothal between Yin-Yang and Tianjian was a political arrangement linked to Jiecheng's own marriage. Jiecheng married an official from Weibo to stabilize the region, and she adopted Tianjian as her son. Yin-Yang and Tianjian were engaged when she was 15, but the engagement was later broken in favour of a more politically advantageous marriage. Yin-Yang was then sent to live with Jiexin, the nun. Yin-Yang is now torn between her duty and her emotions. When Yin-Yang's uncle, Tianjing, expresses opinions during a political meeting that Tianjian finds offensive, Tianjian demotes him and sends him to Linqing, placing him under the protection of Yin-Yang's father, Naifeng. On the way, they are ambushed, but Yin-Yang arrives just in time to save the day. She helps the injured survivors make their way to a village where they meet a young man who polishes mirrors. Instead of carrying out her mission to kill Tianjian, Yin-Yang ends up protecting him during their journey. Later, she confesses to her master, Jiexin, that killing Tianjian while his sons were still young would have thrown Weibo into chaos. Despite acknowledging Yin-Yang's exceptional martial abilities, Jiexin criticizes her for letting emotions get in the way and dismisses her as a failure. Afterward, Yin-Yang chooses to spare Jiexin's life and decides to leave her old life behind, becoming the guardian of the wandering mirror polisher. Sister Street Fighter. When Li Long, a Shorinji Kempo champion and undercover Hong Kong drug agent, goes missing during an investigation into a shady company called Central Export, his sister Tina is called in to take over. Before heading to Club Mandarin to follow up on Li's lead, she visits her uncle's restaurant and catches up with her cousins, Jerry and Remy. At the club, she receives a red rose, the signal to meet up with Li's partner, Fanny Singer. However, assassins working for the Central Export abduct Fanny. Tina fights them off, but they manage to take Fanny. Fortunately, Sonny Hibachi, a Shorinji Kempo student, hijacks their car and brings Fanny to his girlfriend Shinobu's ballet studio for safety. Meanwhile, Yozo Hayashi, the villain behind Central Export, is furious at his men for their failures and hires a mercenary named Hammerhead to infiltrate the Shorinji Kempo school, led by Setsudu Fujita. When Tina visits their school, she meets Sunny and another student, Emi. Sunny reassures her that Fanny is safe, so Tina rushes to Shinobu's studio to question her. Fanny reveals that Li is being held captive, but before she can say more, she succumbs to a forced heroin addiction and is killed by a poison dart during a surprise attack. As Tina continues the investigation, Emi pledges the school's support. Tina uncovers another clue, a lock of hair, and the leader of the Central Export, Kaki, tasks Hammerhead with eliminating her. Tina fights off several minions before confronting Hammerhead on a bridge. He reveals that Li is still alive, imprisoned in Kaki's dungeon, before throwing Tina into the river. Believed dead, Tina secretly survives, and with Emi's help, she destroys one of Central Export's warehouses, bringing her closer to unraveling the mystery. Despite Kaki's frustration with Hammerhead, he allows him and his crew to launch a direct attack on the Shurinji Kempo school, hoping to kill both Sunny and Tina. However, Sunny manages to defeat Hammerhead in a fierce one-to-one fight. Hammerhead, humiliated and spiraling into depression, turns to drinking, but Kaki isn't done scheming. Desperate to end Tina, Kaki manipulates her uncle, forcing him to give Tina false information. Kaki expects his minions to finish her off, but Tina once again outsmarts them and survives. She heads back to her uncle's restaurant with Emi, only to arrive just as her uncle is murdered by a poisoned dart right in front of Jerry and Remy. Devastated but determined, Tina returns to Central Export, where she finally finds and rescues her brother Lee. Tragically, before she can get him to safety, a minister with an arrow gun kills Lee before her eyes. Tina is then captured and nearly killed when Kaki hangs her upside down over a bed of spikes, burning the rope to drop her in. In a daring escape, Tina breaks free and hurls Kaki's mistress onto the spikes instead. Tina cuts down more of Kaki's henchmen before confronting Hayashi, snapping his neck in a final showdown. Sunny, Emi and Kojo arrive to assist, helping to wipe out the remaining enemies, including Hammerhead. In the end, Tina faces Kaki one-on-one and finishes him off with his own deadly claw hand. Ichi, a blind woman, embarks on a quest across Japan to find her mentor, the legendary Zatoichi. Along her journey, she encounters Toma Fujihira, a wandering samurai who falsely claims he rescued her from bandits. In reality, it was Ichi who bravely defeated the attackers and saved both of them. Their travels lead them to a town ruled by the Shirakawa, a Yakuza family battling against the mercenary group known as the Bankito, led by the formidable and scarred swordsman Banki. In this town, Ichi meets Kotaro, a boy living with his alcoholic father. After assisting Toma in winning money through a gambling game called Shohan, they are confronted by 5 members of the Bankito who demand Toma's winnings. When Toma refuses, he is challenged to a duel, but fear prevents him from drawing his sword. In a flash, Ichi steps in and defeats the gang members. When Toraji, the Shirakawa leader's son, arrives, he mistakenly believes Toma was the one who fought and subsequently appoints him as his bodyguard. Encouraged by Kotaro and his father, Ichi decides to remain in the town, hoping to encounter Zatoichi. Toma reveals that despite his skills, he cannot draw his sword due to the guilt he feels from accidentally blinding his mother. As the Bankito plot their revenge, they successfully assassinate the Shirakawa leader. In the chaos that ensues, Toma is knocked unconscious, leaving Ichi to step up and take responsibility for defeating the gang members. The Bankito's second in command, impressed by Ichi's abilities, takes her to confront their leader, Banki. After proving her skills by dispatching 2 more Bankito, Ichi faces Banki but is ultimately defeated. As she lies injured, Banki reveals he knew Zatoichi and that he died due to a sudden illness. Ichi is imprisoned in a pit to die, and she slips into unconsciousness, where she drops the bell given to her by Zatoichi. The narrative then reveals Ichi's past. Born blind, she was rescued by Zatoichi, who entrusted her to a group of Goza, and gifted her a bell as a reminder of him. As she grew up, he secretly trained her in martial arts. After suffering a traumatic experience and being expelled from the Goza, Ichi sought vengeance against her attacker, leading to her quest for Zatoichi, whom she believed was her father. Toma faces backlash from the Yakuza clan for his earlier deceit, but Toraji defends him, insisting they need his skills to defeat the Bankito. Toma teams up with Kotaro's reformed father to rescue Ichi. While recovering Ichi, Ichi confides in Toma that she seeks Zatoichi to see him one last time before ending her life, but Toma persuades her to reconsider. Later, as Ichi sleeps, Toma leaves to aid Shirakawa against the Bankito. When she awakens, Kotaro informs her of the ongoing battle. The Bankito have a 2-to-1 advantage, but Toma overcomes his guilt and draws his sword when Banki challenges him. He proves his skills by fatally wounding Banki, but not before sustaining a mortal wound himself. In his final moments, Toma urges Ichi to maintain hope. After his death, Ichi defeats Banki, killing the scarred clan leader and prompting the remaining Bankito to flee. Later, Toraji begins rebuilding his town and assumes leadership of the Yakuza clan. Ichi plays Toma's favourite song at his grave, accompanied by Kotaro. Planning to take Toma's katana to his mother's grave, she bids farewell to Kotaro and gives him the small bell that Zato Ichi had once given her. Acknowledging that Kotaro was right about needing light for her journey, she sets off on her path, carrying Toma's spirit with her. House of Flying Daggers. In 859 AD, during the decline of the Tang dynasty, various rebel factions emerged, with the most prominent being the House of Flying Daggers in Fengtian. This group fights against a corrupt government, stealing from the wealthy to aid the impoverished, which earns them support. 2 local officers, Leo, Andy Lau, and Jin, Takeshi Kaneshiro, are tasked with the daunting mission of eliminating the group's leader within 10 days, despite the leader's identity being unknown. To achieve this goal, Leo captures Mei, Shang Zihe, a blind dancer believed to be the daughter of the former leader. Jin, posing as a rebel ally, helps Mei escape from prison, gradually winning her trust. They journey to the Flying Daggers base, with Leo and his team following closely behind. As they spend time together, Mei and Jin develop romantic feelings for one another. To enhance their ruse, Leo and his team stage a fake ambush, but soon find themselves genuinely attacked by soldiers. During a clandestine meeting, Leo reveals that the military is now involved and seeks to eliminate both Jin and Mai. Shortly after, the couple is ambushed in a bamboo forest, but is rescued by the Flying Daggers, who take them to their headquarters. It is then revealed that Mai has been pretending to be blind and is not the leader's daughter. She is engaged to Leo, who is secretly working for the Flying Daggers. Heartbroken, Leo confronts Mai about her feelings for Jin, leading to a confrontation where Mai ultimately chooses to save Jin instead of fleeing with him. However, as she pursues Jin, she's attacked by Leo, who throws daggers at her. In a tragic turn of events, Mai deflects one dagger but is mortally wounded by the other. A fierce battle ensues between Leo and Jin, culminating in Mai's sacrifice. In the end, Leo, burdened by guilt, walks away while Jin mourns Mai, singing a lament for her beauty, leaving the fate of the house against the military uncertain. So close. Lin and her sister Sue are skilled hackers and assassins using their late father's secret satellite technology to evade enemies and law enforcement. The film opens with their successful infiltration of a high-security building to assassinate Chao Lui, the chairman of a major Chinese corporation. Following this, Police Inspector Kong Yatung is assigned to track the sisters, while Chao Lui's brother Chao Nung, who orchestrated the assassination, seeks to eliminate them to cover his tracks. Tension escalates as both the police and Chao Nung's thugs pursue the sisters. Lin, the older sibling, handles fieldwork while Sue manages the computer systems. However, Sue feels overshadowed by Lin, especially when Lin falls for Yen, contemplating leaving their dangerous life behind. Meanwhile, Sue is determined to prove herself as a capable assassin. The plot thickens when Kong finds Sue at a bakery, leading to a chaotic car chase. After a tragic encounter leaves Lin dead and Kong framed for the crime, Sue escapes and discovers the identities of her sister's killers. She rescues Kong from custody, proposing a partnership to avenge Lin's death. Together, they confront Chao Nung and his men, forming an unexpected bond before parting ways. Sue visits Lin's grave, vowing to share the truth with Yen, who is still waiting for Lin at a restaurant. Azumi. In feudal Japan, Master Jiji is tasked by Tokugawa Shogunate to train a group of assassins to eliminate Toyotomi Hideyoshi's 3 allies, Nagamasa Asano, Kiyomasa Keito, and Masayuki Sanada, to prevent a civil war. Among the trainees is Azumi, discovered as a child next to her deceased mother. Raised in isolation by Jiji, she learns swordsmanship and assassination techniques alongside her peers. As they grow and mature, the group is informed of a mission but remains unaware of its true nature. Before embarking, Jiji orders them to pair with their closest friend and then to kill each other, ensuring only the strongest survive. Azumi is forced to kill her best friend Nachi, leaving the group to bury their dead and erase all traces of their existence. Later, they witness a village being attacked by bandits, but are instructed not to intervene. Frustrated, they learn their mission is to assassinate the warlords responsible for Japan's turmoil. Azumi successfully kills Asano, who questions her coldness in his final moments. Following this, Kato increases his security, but Azumi's group manages to eliminate him as well, although they mistakenly kill a double. As they visit a traveling circus, Azumi experiences life outside her training for the first time. However, chaos ensues when rogue brothers mistake the circus for the assassins, leading to a massacre. Kanbai, Keito's general, seeks the help of Bijomaru, a mercenary, to hunt down the assassins. After a series of violent encounters, Azumi realizes she must embrace her training to complete her missions. She must part ways with Ye, a survivor from the circus, to pursue the remaining warlords. In the climax, Azumi battles Bijomaru and ultimately kills him. After freeing her dying master, he urges her to abandon violence. However, Azumi, driven by her mission, tracks down Kanbei and Keto, killing Keto before diving into the sea. She later reunites with Nagara, vowing to eliminate Sanada and fulfilling their mission. Memories of the Sword. This story revolves around three swordsmen, Pungshon, Sol Rang, and Deokji, who spearheaded a rebellion in the Goryeo era. Just as their quest for freedom and justice is about to succeed, Deokji betrays them, resulting in Pun Xiong's death and Sol Rang's disappearance, with Pun Xiong's infant daughter, Hong Yi. Before Sol Rang departs, Deokji ominously prophesies that both he and she will be killed by Hong Yi. 18 years later, Sol Rang, now known as Walso, is a blind woman running a tea house at Biokgran port with her two children. Filled with a desire for revenge against Deokji, Walso attempts to train Hong Yi, who now calls herself Sol Hee, to become a swordmaster. However, Sol Hee is more focused on her daily life than her father's legacy. During a major sword fight match hosted by Deokji, now called Hubek, Sol Hee enters despite Walso's protests. She eventually fights Yul, a master swordsman. Yobek recognizes Sol Hee's skill, which mirrors that of Sol Rang, whom he once loved, and orders her capture. That night, Sol Hee learns the truth about her father's death and discovers her two destined enemies, Yobek and Walso. Shocked, she leaves home, embarking on a long path of vengeance. Sukeban Deka, the movie. Following the events of the Sukeban Deka 2 series, 18-year-old Yoko Gudai, formerly known as Special Agent Saki Asamiya, attempts to live a normal life while preparing for college entrance exams. Her life takes a turn when she encounters Kazuo Hagiwara, who is fleeing from hitmen, and reveals he comes from Sankao Academy, a notorious school run by the villainous headmaster Hattori, who brainwashes his students. After they are captured by Hattori's henchmen and subjected to torture, they escape and seek help from Yoko's friend Kyoko Marble Okyo Nakamura, and join forces with Megumi Keto, sister of Kazuo's friend Kikuo, who is still trapped at the academy. They also enlist Yoi Kazama, Yoko's successor. However, a helicopter attack from Hattori leads to Kazuo's death while saving Yoko. With support from her former caretaker, Yoko learns Hattori is a cyborg revolutionary plotting a coup. Betrayals and sacrifice ensue left, right and centre as they infiltrate the academy, ultimately leading to a showdown where Yoko defeats Hattori, destroys the school and saves all the students. In the end, Yoko bids farewell to Nishiwaki and leaves with Okyo and Yukino. Karate Girl, Karate Girl, Rina Takeda and Hina Tobimatsu star as sisters Ayaka and Natsuki Kuranai, the youngest heirs of legendary Okinawan karate master Shojiro Kuranai. As children, they thrive under their father's guidance, played by Tatsuya Naka, until a mysterious group invades their dojo, killing him, kidnapping Natsuki and stealing their family's 200-year-old black belt. Years later, Ayaka leads a humble life as a high school student in Yokohama. After thwarting a purse snatching with her karate skills, she catches the attention of the evil organization, which soon targets Natsuki, now a trained assassin. Determined to rescue her sister and reclaim their black belt, Ayaka now vows to confront the group. The Princess Blade. Yuki is the last royal of the House of Taka Mikazuki, living in a futuristic post-apocalyptic world where her family, once Mikado guards, now work as hired assassins. An old sage named Kuka, who served her mother, reveals life-changing information about the criminal Byakurai's dangerous connection with her. After this revelation, Yuki leaves her house and meets Takashi, the rebel leader, who offers her a chance for revenge and possibly love. Both are seeking to escape their pasts and forge new lives. Marvellous verdict. And there you have it, 20 incredible Asian, female-led martial arts movies that remind us of the power and impact of women in action cinema. From jaw-dropping fight scenes to unforgettable character arcs, these films show not just physical strength but also emotional depth and resilience. We would love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments which film you're most excited to watch, or if there's a favourite of yours we didn't mention. See you next time. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't done so already. Otherwise, have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone, and sorry for the pronunciations.